In 1828, John Quincy Adams ran for a second term. But once again, Andrew Jackson stood in his way. In this election, American political opinion was sharply split. Those for Adams, who believed he deserved 4 more years, and those for Jackson, who believed their man had been robbed in 1824, the victim of the corrupt bargain.
The one person who believed the charges absolutely, utterly, was Andrew Jackson himself, and he went home swearing eternal revenge, and he got it.
The election of 1828 was the dirtiest campaign in history. I don't think there's any question about that. It was brutal.
Jackson campaigned on his impressive war record. He was the hero of New Orleans, the conqueror of Florida, and a bona fide veteran of the American Revolution. But Jackson's past also included some unsavory behavior, which the Adams camp brazenly exposed.
They accused him of being a gambler, a military tyrant. John Quincy Adams called him a barbarian.
In this contentious election, character was the main issue.
The people on each side did everything they could to smear the character of the other man.
And in the case of Andrew Jackson, they are really beyond the pale. They attack Jackson, and they attack his wife, Rachel. And the attacks on Rachel Jackson are really merciless.
The dirt on Rachel was that she had married Jackson in 1791 before obtaining a legal divorce from a previous marriage. The charge was true, but so old that no one expected it to be an issue. But then, in the heat of the campaign, a Cincinnati newspaper published the damning story.
When that Cincinnati editor exposed the details of the fact that Rachel had lived in bigamy and that Andrew had lived in sin, you know that it tore his soul. He blamed Henry Clay for that. Henry Clay was a close friend of the editor, and while Clay denied it, Jackson never believed the denial. So he despised Clay for the corrupt bargain, but came to despise him even more because of that attack on his wife.
The Jackson people responded with equally outrageous charges against Adams.
They would reply that he lived with his wife before they were married. He provided a young American virgin for the pleasure of a Russian czar. He bought a pool table for gambling devices, broke the Sabbath.
Important issues concerning government were ignored. Instead, campaign rhetoric focused on the personal lives and character flaws of the candidates.
What kind of a human being do you want to be in the White House? Do you want somebody whose wife is a whore, which is essentially what they accused Mrs. Jackson of being? Or do you want somebody who pimped for the Tsar of Russia, which is what they said that Adams had done?
I have to say this. The things that the Adams people said about Jackson were mainly true. The things that the Jackson people said about Adams were lies.
In this election, the truth hardly mattered. Jackson's popularity with the common man proved to be overwhelming, and he won in a landslide. But the joy of victory didn't last. In December 1828, after buying her inaugural gown, Rachel Jackson died, suddenly, of a heart attack. She was 61 years old. This was a cruel blow to Jackson, and it would shape his presidency.
Andrew Jackson is reputed to have remarked on the occasion of her death that he did, in fact, forgive all those who had attacked him personally, but that he would never, never forgive those who had attacked his wife.
As for John Quincy Adams, he, like his father, was not gracious in defeat. He refused to attend Jackson's inauguration. Instead, he went home to Massachusetts. 2 years later, Adams was elected to the House of Representatives, becoming the only former U.S. president to do so. In this role, Adams would be an outspoken congressional leader in the fight against slavery. That work, not his presidency, would become his greatest legacy. John Quincy Adams is the first president to have his photograph taken. He sat for this photo in 1843.